Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome in to Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLuga. Thanks so much for being here. Tuesday, January 13th, and this is going to be the final show for me talking about the Bills game. Not going to continue to harp on this one for like an entire show moving forward. There's just so much other stuff to focus on, to talk about. I ultimately, and I've said this a little bit already, I ultimately really do believe the Jaguars just made some uncharacteristic mistakes. And when I say uncharacteristic, I mean over the last 2+ months, the way they were playing football, they made some mistakes against the Bills that they just weren't making regularly against other teams that they had played on this this win streak. And 13-4, 8 straight wins to get into the playoffs. They didn't play a quarterback quite like Josh Allen during that run. Obviously, they played Patrick Mahomes, who Mahomes played great overall against the Jaguars early on in the season. The difference between the Mahomes game against the Jaguars and the Allen game against the Jaguars, in my opinion, was, Patrick Mahomes made a big mistake. He made a big mistake on the goal line. Through that, and they baited him into making the mistake. It wasn't just like a horrible decision by Patrick Mahomes. It was just like the Jaguars were a little bit sharper on that one. Dropping Devin Lloyd out from looking like he's going to blitz and dropping him out. Perfect timing for when the ball came out with Patrick Mahomes, and he houses it for 6. And that's the difference in that game, in my opinion. And, Josh Allen didn't make that type of mistake in this game. So we'll continue talking about it. There's a lot of kind of stuff that I want to unpack and talk about a little bit more. So really appreciate y'all tuning in, supporting the channel through all the ups and downs that is being a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, and just let me know how you're feeling now. It's been a couple days since the Jaguars fell to the Bills and their 2025 season ended, unfortunately. Let me know how you're feeling about moving forward into the future in the comment section. But to me, a big question I'm facing, and it doesn't matter like long-term, anything like that, but in this game, was Trevor Lawrence good enough? I think it's very easy to be strong-willed in your argument either way, because you can absolutely sit here and say, Trevor Lawrence, he had 2 drives in the fourth quarter to take the lead. And he played really well on those drives. And he did. Absolutely. He did that. He made some great plays in this game. His connection with Parker Washington, some big plays from Jacoby Myers. But you can also very easily say he was not good enough. I personally don't put the final interception on him. I think it was a decent idea. It was one-on-one coverage with Jacoby Myers over the middle. That's been your bread and butter since he got here. I get it. Some people say Tre'Davious White was interfering. Some people say it was a great play. Whatever you think, either way, it ended up getting intercepted. But even if you remove that, the first interception was egregious. His first interception of the game was absolutely egregious. His first incompletion to Parker Washington looked like it was just a really bad throw. He missed Britton Strange on an out route that looked like it was just a really bad throw. He was lucky that he wasn't intercepted by Tre'Davious White on the goal line, close to the goal line, when he was targeting Britton Strange down the seam. And yeah, you can say Tre'Davious White made a great play, and he did, but that was another one that should have been or could have been intercepted. To me, he wasn't as consistently dialed or prepared or whatever it is, whatever you need to call it, to be playing at a championship level on Sunday. I think he played good enough to win in a lot of ways. He did some great things. And y'all know, if you pay attention here, I'm about as big of a Trevor Lawrence supporter as you'll find. And me saying that I think he didn't play at a championship level on Sunday is not at all me saying he's not the guy. He is the guy. Absolutely. I think 38 touchdowns and 13 wins tells you he's the guy, right? And again, another game where he did a lot. Two touchdown drives in the fourth quarter that gave you the lead in the quarter. But ultimately, it just wasn't quite as clean as you would expect in a championship type performance. And this basically was, and I'm not saying that the Bills are guaranteed to go win the AFC now. They're not. It's not going to be super easy to do it. But this was a championship level football game, in my opinion. And I just don't think he was quite as, like, you don't have to be perfect, but you can't make the backbreaking mistake. And he did make a really backbreaking. I mean, it was just a really bad interception on that first interception of the game. And then some other misses that you just don't expect from championship level play. Yeah. So I think he has some that he would love to get back in this one. And I think that he can absolutely play cleaner than this. But there's some other things beyond just Trevor Lawrence that I think some other areas of this game where the Jaguars did not do themselves any favors. And when you're playing against a defense like the Bills that is clearly a much better pass defense, and their pass defense was really good in this game. Tre'Davious White was incredible. Truly incredible, the plays he was making. When you're playing a team like that, and look, the Jaguars were still making plays through the air. They were. But it wasn't as efficient and consistent as it normally is. And on the flip side of that, the run game is absolutely dominating. And I'm not talking about the jet sweep game. I'm not talking about the quarterback keeper game. I'm talking about giving the ball to your backs. The guys you pay to run the football. Travis Etienne and Bashal Tutin. They only did that 17 times in this game. Despite those two just consistently getting, at minimum, 3 or 4 yards. I mean, Bashal Tutin was unstoppable. Travis Etienne was really, really damn good as well. And so I think maybe you could have taken some of the pressure off Trevor Lawrence, some of the pressure off the passing game in a game in which you're playing against a really good pass defense. And I'll be honest, the Bills' pass defense played better than I expected them to. And I think they played better than Liam Cohen expected them to as well. But even thinking that, with the confidence Liam Cohen has in Trevor Lawrence in the passing game, which is warranted confidence, even with that confidence, I would have had, and I did. I talked about it. I thought that the Jaguars were going to outperform the Bills on the ground. I thought they needed to, and I thought they should lean into it. Even saying that, I didn't think that the passing game would have as many hiccups as it did in this game. And it wasn't really about the Bills' pass rush. It was just about their coverage and Trevor Lawrence not being as comfortable and dialed as he needed to be. But there were some times in this game looking back and even during the game where I was like, that should have been a run. That play should have been a run. So after LeQuint Allen forces a fumble on the kickoff, you have the ball 1st and 10. After you pick up a first down, and then you get the ball 1st and 10 inside the 20. You're winning the game at this time. You're dominating on the ground, and you don't run the ball once on the next 3 plays. Yes, you do have Trevor Lawrence on 3rd and long scrambling, but you don't have a designed run once on the next 3 plays, and then you do have a designed run on 4th down, and of course it's a Trevor Lawrence quarterback keeper, which I have no problem with. But it's just like, you don't want to give the ball to your guys that are dominating at all in that situation. That was shocking to me. That was the one where I was watching it and saying, why are you not running the ball right now? Why are you not running the ball? It didn't make sense to me. Did not make sense to me. And then I think you probably should have come out running the ball. The Jaguars lost the coin toss. Bills deferred. Jaguars get the ball to start the game. And I think that they should have come out running, and they didn't. I also think play sequencing wise, the first interception probably could have been a run play. I mean, we're nitpicking hard right now, but I'm trying to think, like, Liam Cohen talked about, because he was asked in the post-game press conference about getting away from the run, and he didn't think that they got away from the run, and that he said that he just called the game the way he always calls the game, which that's fine, but I don't think you call this game the way you always call the game when you know you're going up against a run defense that cannot stop you. Obviously, you don't know that on the first drive of the game, but I think you could have found that out pretty damn quickly. You know you have theoretically a bigger advantage even coming into this game against the Bills' run defense than you do against their pass defense. But again, I think that Liam Cohen just didn't believe that the Bills' pass defense was going to stop them as much as they did. We'll keep it going, but first, got to talk to you about Underdog. Playing on Underdog is so easy. Love the user interface and user experience. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. You can also now make team picks on Underdog, so you can look at Texans next week. Obviously, if you're feeling like the AFC South's going to keep moving on, you can look at the Bills traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos, all that good stuff over on Underdog. Just download the app today and sign up with promo code DuvalDaily to score $75 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code DuvalDaily. Underdog. Make picks, win money, must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncbgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. So yes, there's the Trevor Lawrence not quite playing as well as he could have. There's the Liam Cohen probably should have leaned into the run a little bit more early and often. There's also the fact that I think Anthony Campanile did a great job in this game. I've heard some criticism about the Jaguars' pass rush, which I haven't looked at the official numbers, but in my opinion, when Josh Allen was holding on to the ball to throw the ball down the field and not just getting rid of it quick game, the Jaguars' pass rush was there and doing the job. And then there was also times when the Jaguars were not trying to pass rush. They were trying to contain and play coverage, dropping 8, right? You saw that, and that usually worked. And I thought the defense did such a great job in this game. Almost. So on 3 of the Bills' scoring drives, one of them I don't blame the defense at all. It's the Lawrence interception, and they force a field goal, right? It is what it is. But the first touchdown drive for the Bills, you have a 36 yards coverage bust. 36 yards. Can't have it. You cannot have coverage busts. I mean, if you have one in a game, it is what it is, but to have 2 against the Bills, like, you can't give Josh Allen stuff, right? Like, you can't just give it to him. Like, he's too damn good. And he made a couple superhero plays. But it was more workmanlike a lot for Josh Allen in this game than it was anything else, just getting the ball out quickly. But then you have that coverage bust down the right side in the first half on the first scoring drive for the Bills. I mean, without that, they're not scoring on that drive. And then the game-winning drive, you have a 37-yard coverage bust down the left side. Brandon Cooks is running by himself. Looked like it was probably on Greg Newsome there. Game-winning drive. You have a 37-yard coverage. Trevor Lawrence And this offense marched down the field, take the lead, 24-20. Did they leave more time on the clock than you would probably like? I don't even know if you can say that. Game-winning drive. You have a 37-yard coverage bust. You can, if Josh Allen is just putting on the cape, and he kind of did to an extent just because he was getting bruised and beaten early on in this game and still fighting and doing a good job. And then he had a couple throws that were incredible and a couple plays with his athleticism that were incredible. But his biggest throws of the game were just coverage busts. That's not a formula for winning against Josh Allen. And again, I talked about Trevor Lawrence. We're talking about playing at a championship level. I think he played at a winning level. I think the defense played at a winning level. But this is championship level football. This is beating the Buffalo Bills, who have the best quarterback in the playoffs, who's just way more experienced than Trevor at this point, in this setting, in this moment. Way more experienced. But ultimately, I just think that the Bills didn't make the big mistakes that the Jaguars made. And they capitalized on the big mistakes that the Jaguars made. I also think, look, we talked about the kicking battle. Cam Little missed the kick. And I know you can say, 54 yards. 54 yards for Cam Little is not that big. It's not. That's like routine for Cam Little. Missed it. Probably not going to win a game of this magnitude when you have multiple coverage busts on defense, when you have your all-world kicker miss a field goal he needs to make, when you have Trevor Lawrence throw an interception that he can't throw, when he's just not quite as sharp as he needs to be, when you don't lean on the one area of your team that is absolutely dominating, which is the ground game, as much as you could. I just think that these are lessons that need to be learned. And I mean, the Cam Little one, I don't know what your lesson is. Like, just got to make the damn kick. Trevor Lawrence, I think part of the lesson is you should have been running the ball more. That's not on Trevor. That's on Liam. Part of it is you just can't have that mistake, that interception. And I mean, again, got lucky that Trey didn't go get that other one down the seam, which was just a crazy play by him. Yeah, part of it is just you're going up against a team that is still at the peak of their powers in a lot of ways. And they didn't make mistakes, and you did. And really, they just had one defender come with an all-world game in Tre'Davious White. All-world performance by Tre'Davious White. I haven't even looked up let's see what PFF had on that. Yeah, his coverage grade was 82.3. I don't know how it wasn't higher, honestly. 3 pass breakups. 1 reception for 3 yards when targeted in primary coverage. He was unbelievable. He's been really good for them over the last month and a half. About to be 31 years old. He's dealt with all sorts of injuries throughout his career. To be able to play like that in the playoffs was insane. Sometimes this is just what happens, but for the Jaguars, not only do you have to figure out how to sustain this, which is something the Jaguars have not done, you have to figure out how to elevate it. You have to do that without a first-round pick. You have to do that without the luxury of a ton of cap space. There's a lot to get right for the Jaguars this offseason. This is a huge offseason for James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, and company. And I don't think that there needs to be like all these wholesale changes, anything like that. But you can't stagnate. Absolutely not. And you got to figure out how does this get elevated. Okay, maybe you win the game if Cole Van Lannon is instead of Walker Little. Those 2 false starts. I don't think Walker Little was consistently horrible in pass pro, but he had a couple bad reps. He did. Absolutely. Maybe you win if Cole Van Lannon's in the game. Maybe. I don't know. But you have to figure out how to try to elevate this thing. And that's what we're going to look into now moving forward is we'll take a look at the Jaguars free agent class and their cap space situation tomorrow morning. That's what we'll do. And we'll move on from there. So I really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe again. Let me know how you're feeling in the comment section below. Y'all have a good one.